Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 7:03 p.m. Welcome to tonight's Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of Monday, February 3rd, 2025. Members of the Planning and Zoning Commission and public may participate in the public hearing of February 3rd, 2025. All participants will be able to speak when called upon. At this time, I would like to explain the procedures to be followed during the meeting. The Commission has both a consent agenda and an agenda for consideration of individual items. Items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-contested. Item number 1, citizen comments, provides the opportunity for members of the public to address the Commission on items that are listed on the consent agenda. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes, and the Secretary will let you know when 1 minute is left. For all plats and plans conditionally approved or disapproved by the Commission, the applicant will be provided a written statement of the conditions for the conditional approval or the reasons for disapproval at the end of the meeting. These conditions and reasons are not arbitrary. They are directly related to the requirements of Local Government Code Chapter 212 and include citations to the law that is the basis for the conditional approval or disapproval. For individual consideration items, I will call the applicant or his or her representative to present the case. The applicant will have up to 5 minutes to present the case, which will include all persons representing the application. Then those wishing to speak in favor and those wishing to speak in opposition will have up to 5 minutes each to present his or her comments. Prior to speaking, please give your name and address. Remember to speak directly into the microphone, as this hearing is recorded for public record. Any handouts you wish to provide should be given to staff. Please do not approach the Commission. The next meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission will be Monday, March 3rd, 2025. The next item on our agenda, citizen comments on items listed on the consent agenda. April, has anyone signed up to speak on any items on the consent agenda?
No one signed up. Please proceed.
Thank you. Secretary Merrick, would you please read the consent agenda into the record?
Yes, the consent agenda for approval of the Planning and Zoning Commission minutes of Monday, January 6, 2025.
Right. Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please vote. Right. And the motion passes unanimously. And then on to the consent agenda for disapproval.
Okay. 2024-125-PL, Fun and Furious Addition, a replatting one lot into 3 lots for the commercial development located at 8505 Walton Boulevard. Next one, 20254-PL, Freeport Industrial Addition, final plat, replatting 1 lot into 2 lots for industrial uses. Location at 8480 Esters Boulevard. Finally, 2025-6-PL, Las Brisas Revised Edition, final plat, replanting 1 lot into 2 lots for multifamily uses. Located at 4303 Mariposa Drive.
All right. Do we have a motion for disapproval for the reasons set forth in the staff memos?
I'll make a motion for
Second.
disapproval.
Okay.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. All right, now we'll move on to the individual items. Item number 6, zoning case 2024-358-ZC, located at 3751B Irving Mall, 2nd floor. Is the applicant present? All right, would you like to present?
Good evening, Council. My name is Todd Gross. I'm with Big State Construction. We're applying to rezone so that we can open a poker room at this particular location. Before myself or Mr. Miller jumps into it, Sean Hall would like to say a couple of quick things. He's also on the list.
Okay, great, thank you.
I'm a proud Irvingite.
Your name and address first. Sorry.
Sean Hall, 1420 Mosswood Lane, Irving, Texas. I'm a proud graduate. But when we were in the work session, we just wanted to make sure there was a few things, and that's all I wanted to get up and speak about. There's no direct access from the space that we're going into that goes into the mall. If you go to the next one, keep going one more. The site plan with, there you go, that one. Back one. As you can see in the upper white, that is where the diagonal portion is. That goes into the mall. We are taking the bottom section of it, which the shaded area, which has no direct access to the mall. And we just wanted to make sure that that was understood. And go ahead and finish.
And I apologize, I didn't tell you, my name's Todd Gross. I'm at 4421 Woodland Park Boulevard, Arlington, Texas. So I'm speaking with you today to consider allow the operation of a social club, its primary focus being poker within the city limits of Irving. We believe such a facility would bring numerous benefits to the community, economic benefits, tourism, and entertainment options, again, focusing on responsible regulation with poker. We would bring some economic growth here to the city. When we first open, we'll have in the neighborhood of 125 employees. When we get to our full operating capacity, we'll have 400 plus employees. That will include management, dealers, security, restaurant staff, wait staff, things of that nature, cleaning staff, things like that. As far as bringing people into the area on a day-to-day basis, we'd bring between 200 and 300 people a day in to play poker. When we have the larger tournaments, we can bring in over 2,000. Of course, not all at the same time, but they would be in through various times. We also have the ability, and based on other rooms that are in Dallas and another room that's located here in Irving, they bring in a lot of people from out of the country. A lot of people come in from Europe, Switzerland, different places like that. We would operate a safe and regulated environment. We will have on-site security, which will be either a private security firm, or we've been speaking with the Irving Police as a possibility of using their off-duty police officers. The Poker Ranch would not only bring significant economic benefits to also enhance the city's appeal as a destination for both residents and visitors. It would provide a safe and responsible, enjoyable environment for poker enthusiasts and contribute positively to the local economy, via tax revenue and hotels, restaurants, and things like that around the area. As you can tell, I'm not really a public speaker, so I'm doing the best I can. We would be a membership-based access. You have to be a membership of you have to be a member of the social club to participate in the poker or actually get into the facility. So it's not going to be just wide open. Anybody can walk in. Basically, the way that it operates is like any gym or country club or anything like that. You pay a membership fee to be part of the club, and then you come in and have access to the facilities, the restaurant, the bar, the poker room, things like that. I'm going to turn it over to somebody that's a little better speaker than I am. This is Mr. Ron Miller, and at the end I can answer any questions that anybody would have.
Thank you.
1 minute is remaining for your presentation.
I only have 1 minute?
Yes.
Oh, but I'm on the list. Can I use my full 5 minutes?
I believe you're all together, so it's all the same time.
Okay. I'll be quick. My name is Ron Miller, 7920 Beltline, Suite 650, Dallas, Texas, 75254. The reason the staff does not support the rezoning is because the City Council has adopted Ordinance 2024-11017, which serves to regulate card houses. However, the ordinance does not apply to Big State, and that their application was submitted prior to the adoption of the ordinance. The new ordinance should not be used as a basis for denying our request, as we have met all legal requirements to use that proposed space. The proposed card room would most likely be the last one in the city of Irving, and it would be the premier card room, and since it will be tastefully done, it will bring economic benefits to the city and bolster the mall itself. The reason it will most likely be the last one is that all future card rooms are limited to 1,500 square feet, which no card room will open because it will not make any money with that little of the space. Section 3.21 of the Unified Development Code states that the purpose of regulating card houses is to promote the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the citizens of the city. The proposed card room will be a safe environment, as will be security during operation hours of the club. As to morals, I
So,
realize
sir, your time's up. Are you about done?
I have more, but I'll be done because that's my time is limited.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
You have any questions I need to answer? Or?
My guess is people will. So yeah, if you'll wait up there for just a second. Let's see. Do any of the commissioners have questions for the applicant?
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead, sir. You first.
You only have one entrance into the facility, right? On the
No,
east
sir.
side.
There are actually two entrances, and there will be a third.
Where will the third be?
Well, that's not, if you go in the bottom right-hand corner, okay, between the bottom right-hand corner and the top right corner of the shaded area, in that area out there, there's actually a planter box that is going to be removed, and then we'll put a door in there. I don't know if they have a better picture.
Well, the reason I asked the question was when I went by to do a site inspection, I saw one door with the address on it. And
Yeah, that's the, well, yeah, let's see,
it'd be left of that even.
it's to the right. To the left is Macy's and everything else. We're up to the right by the, I don't know if that's a green trash can or what that is out there. Do you see the,
Former Levita entry, which would be around the corner,
Okay, on the right.
that's going to be, that entry is to the banquet hall, which is the downstairs space. So
Right.
that's a picture that was taken of the wrong entry.
Am I correct that when I drove by there was one door?
there is one door that has the address above it,
Yeah.
okay? And then right there where that tree is, there's a ramp right there which gives us ADA access. There's a separate door there. And then around the right, there are some bay doors. And then between the bay doors and the front door, we're going to remove that planter and put an entrance there.
Well, I didn't see it yet. I didn't see it yesterday. What I was
No,
saying was-
it's not there.
But when I drove around, I'm sitting there going, and then with your talking about the amount of people you're going to have, I think you have a parking problem too.
No, sir, we have spent quite a bit of time out there at all points in time during the day and monitored both parking lots. There's two parking lots. There's one directly across from the entry, and then there's one directly across from the ADA access. The one that is directly across from the ADA access has a ton of parking 24 hours a day.
Do the commissioners have any more questions for the applicant?
Yes, it's my understanding you're going to use the second floor, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, how are y'all going, you're blocking off, I guess, a portion of the second floor that goes out into the mall?
We are not going to have access to that. That particular space, if you go back to the other plan, the shaded area and the white area, that's 42 or 44? It's 44,000 square feet. We are going to have a demising wall in between the two. We're only going to be in the shaded area, which is a little bit over 24,000 square feet, and we have no access to the mall. The access to the mall is still available to the other suite.
Okay, but they still got to come in the door and I guess go through the bottom downstairs to another door?
No,
or
sir. They
something like
can,
that?
they enter our floor right from the street level.
Or from the street level? Okay.
Yeah. They do not have to impose on the downstairs neighbor at all.
Okay.
That's why I say the other.
If you'd like to speak, you can come up to the microphone.
The entry that you saw to the banquet hall is to the downstairs tenant there, that's already there.
Okay.
But we will have nobody going in through that because they would have no access to our space.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Are you currently operating any other poker home in Texas?
No, sir. This would be our first location. We are very familiar with the poker rooms, have been involved with some of the other poker rooms on various levels, consultants and things like that, but this would be our first poker room. Real quick, addressing the management, all of our management is coming from the existing poker rooms. We have a manager that is currently an assistant manager at another one of these establishments. And everybody else in our management, assistant manager and above, has been in the casino industry for quite some time, be it, your standard casinos like Harrah's or any of those. And then a lot of the people have been associated with the various national poker tours, WSOP, WPT, the Run Good Poker Tour, things like that. So all of our management staff is well-versed in running a poker room.
What would it be your hours of operation?
24 hours a day.
So, in regards to the parking, you mentioned that at your maximum capacity, you're going to have about 400 employees, maybe whenever you have a tournament.
Well, but that wouldn't be all at one time. When I say 400 employees, because we will, we would run 3 to 4 shifts. And so the employees would be coming in and out, just depending upon the amount of tables and everything that was running at that time. But no, we would never have 400 employees at one time.
And what would it be the cost of membership?
The cost of membership, you can do one of 3 different members. You can do a daily membership, which is $10. You can do a monthly membership, which is $30, or you can do a yearly membership, which is $250.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions, commissioners? I did have one question. It seems like not starting off this project with a very good relationship with your neighbors.
I'm confused because I've had conversations with them all and nobody has ever said anything to me. And I have, one time, I will admit, I did not go multiple times, but one time I went downstairs to introduce myself. The owner was not there. They told me that he would call me, and he never called, and I never followed up. That was my fault.
And we have letters in opposition from not just the owner downstairs, but I gather
You
Macy's, and then also,
you have
yeah.
3. You have one from Macy's, which this gentleman over here is going to speak about. You have one from the mall, which, like I said, I've been in communication with the mall staff, and nobody has ever indicated anything to me. And then I made one attempt for the gentleman downstairs, but like I said, I didn't follow up on that. Those are the 3 oppositions that we have. And I don't think I can do a lot with with following up with Macy's. I am going to definitely get this gentleman's card and answer any questions that he has. But as far as the mall and the gentleman downstairs, the banquet hall, I definitely intend to follow up this week.
Any other questions for the applicant?
I do have one question. Had you talked to the neighbors that have I think there's like a kid's birthday party area?
I've never seen a kid's
Second
birthday party
floor.
area. The only thing that I've seen in general vicinity is the banquet hall, which is downstairs below us. And then there's the movie theater. There is a Mexican food restaurant. And then, of course, Macy's.
And maybe they're not there anymore, but they were right on the second floor on the other side of Macy's as you head to Dillard's.
I have, like I said, I've driven around the mall several times. I've never seen anything advertised that way. I mean, they might be there, but I really don't think they're there anymore. I did, when I originally contacted the mall, they sent me a list, and probably 30% of the businesses that were on the list weren't even there anymore. And so I corrected that and got back with them and said, wait a minute, this one's not here, this one's not here. And they said, oh yeah, we need to update that, which I believe the last time I looked on their website, they've done. So some of those, a lot of those have been eliminated. And one last thing on the poker room is that a lot of people have, you know, the for lack of a better way to put it, you know, the movie vision of a poker room, the back room, smoky, you know, things. This is not at all like that. It's wide open. It's fully lighted. Like I said, we have security. We have males, females, mothers, dads, you know, all walks of life that come in and play. So it's not the general vision that a lot of people have, you know, of the poker room.
But you said you don't have any real experience in running one of these poker rooms.
No, I didn't say that. What I said was this would be our first one. But we have many, many, many years of running poker rooms and tournaments and things like that in the staff that's coming on board.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Can you tell me a little bit about the parking studies that you did? Because I don't know if you know, on the east side, sometimes like they have like a fair going on there, and that gets really crowded.
Yeah,
with parking.
that occasionally comes out there. It was actually there during one of the times. Now, let me qualify this. It was not a formal parking study. It was just something that we had done where I'd gone out there on several occasions, and a couple other people had gone out there and spent time, you know, seeing what kind of traffic and everything like that. Of course, during the fair, when they have the carnival, you know, that parking lot would not be available. But the parking lot that is here at the bottom of the drawing, that one is very rarely even close to being full. And we would utilize a lot of that.
Thanks.
Sure.
Are you going to provide valet parking?
No, sir. We will have a security officer that will have a golf cart and will be patrolling all of the parking areas. And, you know, if somebody pulls up, they'll give them a ride, but it's not officially valet parking.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of this item? No? Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this item? All right. I'll get to you in just a second. Great, thank you. You can go ahead, sir.
Okay. My name is Jim Harris. I'm with the law firm of Holland & Knight in Dallas. Address is 1722 Rue Street, Suite 1500, Dallas, Texas 75201. I'm here tonight on behalf of Macy's. Just to be plain about it, Macy's sees this as very harmful to their operation. It's not a use that's compatible with or that enhances retail uses. And as you all are quite aware, the whole purpose of zoning is to ensure that we've got compatible uses at a particular location. This use is simply not compatible. I was out walking the dogs with my wife over the weekend talking to her about this case, and she was listening to me, and she said, well, you know, it's not like somebody at one of these poker games is going to say, you know, folks, I got to cash out because I need to go over to Macy's and buy some sheets. That's just not going to happen. This particular use is not going to increase foot traffic with respect to the retail operations that are there and will ultimately not help Macy's to provide the type of service it wants and to keep that location at that place. Last year, Macy's provided almost $1 million in local sales tax to the city of Irving from its operation. And this activity, the Macy's folks who have a lot of experience, obviously all over the country, can only see this as reducing the people that are going to come to the mall and to their particular store and reduce the amount of local sales tax that they are going to generate. I guess I should be happy that they're going to provide security. On the other hand, the need for security causes me a little bit of concern, especially given the number of folks that they say will be visiting this location and the chances of something going wrong, which again is not helpful to the mall generally or to Macy's in particular. And the problem with the SP1 is that it's permanent. With a conditional use permit, as you discussed at the work session, at least you get to revisit over some period of time. It's not unusual to have a short additional conditional use permit to see how things are working out and decide whether you're going to renew it. If you would grant this particular application tonight, there is no further review. Things could go badly wrong, and there's really there's no really effective way for you to rein that in after you've approved it. And I think I'd note that as a result of what the City Council adopted, this particular use would not be allowed at this location under that current ordinance. It's both too large and it serves alcohol. The only way that this use is going to make money, I guess, because that $10 membership fee is nothing, right? It's just anybody that wants to walk in for a day is going to be able to use it. There's no real membership. It's sort of like, I'm old enough to remember this when Dallas was dry and you'd walk into a Miko Cena and for $1 you'd get a card that would allow you to continue indefinitely. So there's no effort on the part of the owners to really vet the people that are coming in. I really have a hard time believing, notwithstanding the fact that I like Irving, the downtown area has been upgraded, but I have a hard time believing somebody's going to fly in from overseas in order to use this particular poker room, and they certainly are not going to end up using the Macy's. The fact that it's going to be open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day is totally inconsistent with the operation of the rest of the mall. And could create loitering problems and will result probably, according to the Macy's folks I've talked with, the need for us to provide additional security, which will mean additional cost for Macy's, which is not helpful to our business model. That basically is it. There's no other alcohol at the mall at this time. I was over there this afternoon. There are a number of small eating establishments.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Thank you. Like Auntie Anne's pretzels, but nobody is serving liquor over there at this time. And I just a little bit concerned that poker and alcohol and the number of people that they have just leads to a security problem at this mall. And anything that, if that arises, then that publicity associated with that will have a detrimental effect on the mall and on Macy's. So I'd respectfully request that the commission deny this request. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Did any commissioners have any questions?
Yeah, I got, just to clarify one thing, I understand the ordinance that was passed, but understand this thing before the ordinance was passed. So we cannot take a CUP or anything in it to that respect. We do, however, the reason why the ordinance was passed is because we do listen to the citizens, we do listen to the property owners around them. So that was the reason, one of the reasons why this ordinance was passed. But this was filed before, so we can't take that into consideration.
I guess yes and no. The city attorney's office and I have a slightly different view of that, but I understand your position. It's not as though a permit was issued in connection with this. It was just an application and you changed it. But I think the considerations that went into that ordinance should influence your decision in this case because it indicates concerns that were expressed for any poker room. And those exist independent of that ordinance or not. It's just that the council decided to put that down in black and white. But the concerns are still there and they're concerns that Macy's has.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Then I believe there's at least one more person who'd like to speak in opposition, sir? Can you come down to the microphone, or there's a microphone over there if that's more convenient. Let's see. Is that an option? Oh, I didn't see him. Mr. Blizzard? Where? Okay, all right. Does it matter which of you goes? I know, apparently you're next on the list technically, but do you mind if he goes first? I do not mind. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. My name is Jay Shim. I'm here on behalf of the owner of the banquet hall, Jay Kim. I just want to raise our
Can you state your
concern.
address for the record, please?
Address?
Yes, please.
3761 Irving Mall Drive. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we just want to raise our concern as a business being downstairs. First, I want to mention the parking lot, because our business is heavily focused on the weekend business, especially quinceañeras and weddings. So as far as the parking lot on the Friday evening and Saturday evening, we're pretty filled up right in front of our business. I want to address that. And also, our business is involved with a lot of minor quinceañera, 15 or 16 years old. So we have a concern about the 24 hours ongoing business with the alcohol and gambling upstairs. And also we do have I believe the connection, the stairs from the first floor and the second floor to their business. And I want to raise the concern about that as well, how they can secure that entrance, basically. Yeah.
Great.
And,
Anything else?
that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Joe Blizzard. I'm at the law firm of Hunton Andrews Kurth. Our address is 1445 Suite 3700. 1445 Ross Avenue, Suite 3700, Dallas, Texas 75202. I'm going to be very brief. I represent the mall at Irving, and we oppose this application for all the reasons that Mr. Harris so eloquently stated, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Would the applicant like to respond?
Yes. Like I said, I don't know how this works. I was going to ask if I get to. Okay, real quick. I know everybody's got everything to do.
Your name and address again, just so it's
Again,
clear on
name
the
is
record.
Todd Gross, 4421 Woodland Park Boulevard, Arlington, Texas. So I guess Macy's would much rather have an empty space with no business coming in to give them the opportunity to benefit from that. That doesn't make sense to me. Security, having to have security is not a bad thing. You have security at movie theaters. You have security at other businesses. The reason that we're having security is to provide a sense of comfort to anybody that's there and anybody that's outside. As far as the income to the room goes, no, you have to be a member. He just asked about the membership fees. You pay an hourly fee to play. It's $13 an hour. That's how the income is derived. The restaurant and bar are strictly a convenience for the players. The main source of income will be the poker itself. And we can go into greater detail about how we derive no money from the pot, just from the player, et cetera, if you want. Okay. As far as no alcohol in the mall, that's incorrect. There's a Mexican food restaurant right next door. They serve alcohol. Crime in the area, I believe you can check with an existing poker room that you guys have, TCH. You can check with the residents and things around there. I don't believe they've had any additional crime. And I think crime in that area, particularly that parking lot and things like that, would go down because we have our security patrolling it all the time. Anytime we're open, we'll have security in the parking lot. As far as the entry to the space downstairs, there used to be an elevator. It is non-functioning, doesn't work. The shaft is still there, but it's blocked off. We have no access to it. The owner has already secured that and everything else. There also used to be an escalator that went between the first floor and the second floor, And that is no longer there. That's been capped off. We have no access to the first floor from our space. The only way we could get access would be to go outside and go in their door. We have no access from our space. I think that pretty much covered it, unless you guys have any other questions that came up.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any additional questions for the applicant? No? Great. Thank you very much. All right. And thank you. That closes the public hearing portion, and I will return it to the commission for discussion and a motion.
Well, I would like to just note a few concerns I have. I appreciate the applicants. I think they brought a thoughtful proposal forward. My concern is it's just not the right fit for this space and for the mall. I think where these kinds of card rooms are permitted, it's under the understanding that it's a private room, and it's hard for me to think of a more public space than a mall like Irving Mall. And so even though maybe technically it could be considered conforming, I see this as being just incompatible. And I think Macy's council brought up some similar concerns that I had in terms of compatibility with other neighbors and just what's typical of a mall. Now, I know malls are evolving, but I don't see this as a good fit for the mall, and particularly in light of the concern of the city council. I do think it's valid to consider why the recent CUP ordinance was passed. I think that would inform our decision for this in terms of whether or not it's good for the area, whether it should be small or large, and I don't see this as being a good fit.
Yes. If my fellow commissioners, if no one else has any comments, I'd like to make a motion.
It looked like maybe other people still had comments.
I was just going to make a comment, quick comment. I believe this proposal is not compatible with the neighbors either. I believe the parking it's going to be an issue, as we heard from some of your neighbors as well. So I'm not able to support this proposal at this moment.
All right, is there any other comments or discussion before?
I just got one question for staff. Am I correct that since the 3 people that are surrounding it that got notices, that creates a 100% opposition, correct?
Essentially, I mean, well, because we've never had one where we have one on one floor and one on the other, because they share a parcel, but they're definitely over the 20%. And the 20% would
Create a supermajority
trigger a
in council.
supermajority of the city council, correct?
Okay.
So they will need a supermajority of the city council in order to get approval.
Right, they would need a 3/4 vote from city council, so 7 of 9 votes for approval.
And I have to concur with, Commissioner Denny, that this ordinance was passed, there was a reason for it, and I don't think it's compatible use. And I think the citizens spoke beforehand, before the ordinance was in place, numerous times regarding card rooms in this city. So at this point, I can't support it.
Can I ask a question, or is it done?
No, the public hearing portion is over. There is, however, at the city council, another public hearing.
Oh, no,
So.
I just anyway, I understand.
All right. Mr. Pritchard?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion on zoning case 2024358CZ to be forwarded to City Council with a recommendation for denial.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second recommending denial. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. All right. We are on to item number 7. This is zoning case 2024-400-ZC, located at 2626 Yale Street. Is the applicant present? Sir, would you like to say anything? No? Okay. If the commissioners have any questions, are you available to answer any questions? Okay. All right. Do any of the commissioners have any questions for the applicant? No? Okay. Nope. All right. No questions for the applicant. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Yes, ma'am. Yeah, if you come up to the microphone, that'd be great. And if you could give your name and address.
Good evening. My name's Laura Gonzalez, 2626 Yale Street, Irving, Texas. I am for this because this will greatly benefit me as well as now officially having an asset as a vehicle. So this, of course, will cover our vehicles from obviously our NatCat events and the strong sun that we have here in Texas. So again, you never know with today's weather here in Texas. So that's why I'm in for this. And of course, if you have any questions, please let me know and I yield my time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anyone in opposition? No? Then I will return it to the commission for discussion and a motion.
I'd like to make a motion for zoning case 2024400-ZC be forwarded to City Council for approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for approval, recommending approval. Please vote. And the motion passes 6-1. All right, and now keep in mind, it does go to the city council now, so there is still another round of this. But it does go with a recommendation of approval. All right. On to item number 8. Zoning case 2024-439-ZC, located at 1110 and 1120 Singleton Boulevard. Is the applicant present? Yes. All right. Would you like to present?
My name's Jose Robledo with Edgeform Construction. Address 11714 Kilkirk Lane, Dallas, Texas, 75228. The reason for our rezoning is to, maximize our clients' potential investment. Currently, we're under preliminary developments, right? We don't know which way we want to go with the development phase, what type of building we want to go. Currently, the market demand, we're looking at kind of the current zoning. It's evolving in the real estate market demand as there's significant demands on car washes, auto repairs, auto part sales, installations. Different various, driving restaurants and, gas stations and things like that in that type of area. The economic development rezoning would allow for the development of car washes or auto repairs, auto part sales. And, we're trying to, if we do decide to sell the vacant land, it currently has a small 900 square foot frame building on it. So it's either we're going to redevelop it into some type of commercial buildings, sell it, or keep it as an investment property. So, that's the reason we're applying for the rezoning. The client has the property. He's been having the property for over 8 years, so it's kind of time to try to, maximize the property value that he's been holding on to. So, that's, all we got to mention right now, so.
Great. All right. Do any of the commissioners have questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So I can understand the desire to want to increase just the optionality for future development, but I guess I'm just wondering if this is premature. Is there a specific reason that you're seeking this change, or is it really just to create optionality?
It's more options that we have currently is we just have a frame structure. It's a house that's been sitting there as like office space, right? So, you know, we want to be able to develop it as a future retail type office or a restaurant, or, so we're in development stage to try to see what the best option for our profit margin is, right? So are we gonna put a restaurant or a gas station, a retail store, or, you know, and in the current zoning that's saying we could just put a warehouse or a sexually orientated business, you know, we don't, you know, things like that is kind of not what we're trying to do with the parcel of land that we want, right? So putting it in a different type of zoning category gives us more options to kind of expand our options to see what we could put on this piece of land.
Okay, well, I guess I would just offer that, I don't know if my colleagues will have similar concerns. I would imagine the city council may have concerns. It's oftentimes when we consider zoning changes, it's because we have a view of like what specifically it's going to be used for, at least for that current or next owner. So it's a little harder to get at least my head around why we're making this change if it's not specific to a certain goal.
Okay.
And so I just offer that that might be helpful for those that are hesitant to grant that, to have a better idea of what the intended use is.
Yes, and also if we don't develop the property, we could, you know, in the real estate market, we could promote it or sell it as instead of a CW, commercial warehouse property, we could sell it as a CO2 or COU2 property, right? So it kind of changes the value of the property because somebody has more options that they could use the property for. Or it gives us the people that are interested in that type of the use of property probably gives us a bigger range of pool of people that are trying to buy that type of property.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Lightfoot.
Yeah, I'd have to concur with Commissioner Denny. I mean, we normally just don't do blanket zonings. Just here you go, do what you want, figure it out. We normally try to figure out what's compatible for the area, what was going to fit the area, something specific. We try to work with the applicant to try to figure that out. So at this time, even though staff says they approve it, I could not support it because it's just doing a blanket zoning, and it don't sound like you have anything specific you're wanting to build there for yourself. It sounds like you're wanting to have the option to do basically whatever or sell it as that. And we typically look at these cases, and I think there's no way I could support it.
Okay, yeah, because first, you know, it was two parcels at one time, right? We got it replatted, so we joined the lot to combine it into one lot.
Yes, sir.
So now we're, you know, applying for the rezone. So we're in the second process of it. So I'm guessing now, after the rezone, we could present what we're trying to do with the lot.
Yeah, but
Right.
and if that's the case, if you have something very specific you'd like to do, I mean, maybe you might want to consider postponing it for a later date to bring it back before us. But at this point in time, I cannot support a blanket zoning just to put whatever somebody wants to put there,
Okay, yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand.
And I don't know what my colleagues will do, but at this point, that's where I'm at on it.
Okay.
So I know we haven't gotten to the discussion side of this, but since that's already kind of come up, I mean, I think that's really not, when we're doing straight zoning, and this is a straight zoning case, just a matter of changing the zoning, it would be regardless of what this particular property owner intends, it's whether that new zoning would be appropriate for the space, because regardless of what a property owner says or intends at this point in time, whatever the straight zoning is what would dictate it going forward into the future. So it seems to me that the question would be, is the COU2 an appropriate zoning at this location? And I look at this map and I see that the two parcels just north of it are COU2 zoned properties. And so it does kind of seemed to me like that would be a permissible use. Is it the only possible use? They might be making a mistake by trying to get this changed now because they might want something else later down the road. And I think that's some of the concern of, you may be getting yourself locked into a zoning category that long-term isn't what you want, because you don't quite know what your ultimately use is going to be for this property. But I don't see why this wouldn't fit for this location in terms of what the COU2 permits. So that's sort of the way I tend to look at it. I know we aren't in the discussion portion yet, but that seems to be an important component of this. But are there any other questions for the applicant?
No question, just going to wait for the discussion portion.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Is there anybody who'd like to speak in opposition to this item? No? Then I will return it to the commission for discussion.
My only feedback on it is I have to agree with you, Chair Skinner, that, and the staff as well. I do feel that it is conforming to the area, and it may be premature, but as an applicant, I do feel that he should have his right, and since it does conform with other parcels nearby, to change the zoning to allow for potential resale, and so that's my only comment.
Any other discussion?
I guess I'll add, I do think the proposed use and the reasons for requesting the zoning change are relevant. It's hard to make a decision in the abstract on various categories. And what I'm seeing in the application doesn't quite line up with what I'm hearing, so it just strikes me that this request is premature. That's my position.
What kind of inconsistencies are you seeing?
The letter that was included that outlined the reasons were inconsistent with what I just heard.
I don't have the letter in front of me. Can you tell me what you mean?
It's in the packet. I don't know how else to describe it. It's dated January 10th, 2025.
No, I meant more like what's inconsistent about it.
I'm just going to leave my comments there.
Okay. You have it here? Oh, I don't immediately see anything inconsistent there, but okay. It looks like it gives a variety of proposed uses that are possible uses in the future, which would be consistent with what the applicant has said this evening. So that makes sense to me. They want to maximize the potential uses, potential resale value of the property. It seems to me that the proposed use does fit with the area. I agree. It could be they end up deciding it's not what they really wanted, in which case they've gone through the process unnecessarily and the cost associated with that. But I don't see telling them no, just on the chance that they might not have wanted to go through the process at this time.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I understand what you're saying to a certain degree, but we also have to factor in ingress, degress. I mean, there's all kinds of things that go with it. There's CW around it. You got COU2, the two up on the corner, which are easily accessible lots. But the way this lot sets in there, it's going to be challenging for whatever goes up in there. And I don't know about, just like I said, just giving a blanket zoning to say, okay, here you can do this or this or that. It's going to be a challenging lot to do anything on anyway, do it to its size.
Well, it might be. They would still have to comply with all the traffic rules. I mean, all the traffic studies in terms of having appropriate space. They'd have to meet all the requirements of the ordinances for anything they put in place. We aren't exempting them from that.
Right, and I feel that comment is also premature and not giving them the fair opportunity to have more options. We're like what if scenarios, and we haven't really gotten to that point. We got into the position of what can this property have? And I feel giving our applicant a fair opportunity when we're saying no when there's other parcels directly above that have that same COU too. So that's my only feedback on that.
Do we have a motion?
Well, I will move to recommend disapproval of zoning case 2024-439 ZC.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second recommending disapproval. Please vote. And the motion passes 4-3. So it still does go to the city council, as I've mentioned earlier to some other people. So it does go with a recommendation of disapproval, but it's ultimately up to the city council, as various people have mentioned throughout this. So you'll be able to make your arguments to them and maybe get a different result. So, all right. On to item number 9. Comprehensive Plan Amendment 2025-12-CP, located at 2410 Camano Drive. There's also the companion case, the zoning case 24-445-ZC. Is the applicant present? Ma'am, would you like to present? Would you like to present on both of them at the same time?
Yeah.
Great.
My name is Guadalupe Palacios, located on 116 West Main Street in Italy, Texas. We're trying to relocate our construction offices from Italy to here to Irving. We're trying to have 4 spaces for offices, and the rest uses as a warehouse to storage materials, tools, and equipment. Do you have any questions?
Do the commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
I guess, ma'am, I have a question. This doesn't directly relate to the application, although I think it's relevant to the use. Has the road always been that bad in that area where that lot is? Has it deteriorated over some period of time? Do you have any feedback on that?
I do believe it's been like the way it is for a very long time now. But we're a construction company. It's not going to be an issue for us. If we have to do something, we are going to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Where did you say you were relocating from?
Italy?
Italy, Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
No other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody who'd like to speak in opposition to this item? Sir?
Hi, not strictly against
could
it.
you your name and address?
Jonathan Perrin, 2440 Camano Drive. To field your question, the road was just a simple blacktop road. It was fine for the most part. Within the last 5 years, much of the properties on Camano Drive got turned into trucking depots, and that road was never intended for having trailer trucks coming up and down it at all hours of the day. So that has completely torn it up. Second part is water line was recently put into Camano Drive all the way down to where my property is, so it has a fire hydrant outside of it now. The situation I want to reflect on in this is that there is a bit of confusion because the water meter and water lines on the property of 2410 belong to me. Both the house on 2410, that property, and as well as 2440 are tied into the same water line. They were both owned by my grandparents when I unfortunately had to sell 2410 to a couple. We had an easement under a gentleman's agreement that they can use my water and they get free water out of it. But when they sold the property, I guess that was never communicated to the brokers. So there's something that, there's more to this that I really need more information on. If anyone has any way to, I mean, I'll be talking to you, right? Guadalupe, right? Yes. Yes, I'll be talking to you as well. So it's just a confusing situation, and I'm just like the last little holdout of anyone living on Camano Drive now, and everything around me is being, well, it's going bad, and taxes are going way up as well, and I don't want to sell. I want to live there for my entire life if I can. So, thank you.
Pardon me, I didn't catch your name.
Jonathan Perrin.
Jonathan, what exactly is your question? What's the question?
I just need more information about what this plan amendment is. The zoning case, I understand it's changing zoning to, it's not industrial, it's commercial?
Commercial warehouse.
Okay, that's fine.
And I just, correct me if I'm wrong, but the intent is to put a warehouse facility to hold construction material for the usage of custom homes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan.
All right, thank you.
And Jonathan, one quick question. Yes. You said that the sewer and the water is tied on to your taps, correct?
The water is. The
water
water meter.
is?
The sewer is separate. For my home, it goes out through the trailer park, I think. It goes across the creek into the trailer park.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to hopefully help. I don't think anybody from water is here. When they come in for their building permit for their structure, they will have to connect directly to a city line. So that should all be taken care of, reviewed and taken care of at the time of building permit. Unless there's an easement or something, but, a gentleman's agreement 50, 60, 70 years ago will not apply to a new industrial building.
All right. Anybody else who'd like to speak in opposition to this item? Sir.
Melvin Pullen, 7006 Fillmore, Dallas, Texas, 752354318. I'm in opposition to the zoning. It's not compatible with what has taken place at the corner of Maryland and Camano Drive, and the size of the lot would be prohibitive for any real warehouse storage to be provided. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, anybody else who'd like to speak in opposition to this item? Would the applicant, ma'am, would you like to respond to anything? You have anything further you'd like to add?
The gentleman mentioned that the size of the lot, it's not going to be enough. It's actually enough. We don't need like that much space. The actual measurements for the warehouse that we're trying to do, it's going to be 30 by 50. And the offices will be small, so it's not like we need like a lot of space. And it's not going to be like a lot of traffic either. Most likely, we're going to use it just, as I mentioned before, for storage, for materials, and it's not going to be for big equipment either.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. That is the end of the public hearing portion. I'll return it to the commission for any discussion and a motion.
Can I just
Mr.
make a
Reyes,
quick-
it looks like
I'd just
you-
like to make a quick comment. So my personal view is that this area seems to have evolved into more of an industrial type of, I don't know if that's the right word, but more of a commercial versus residential area. I do have concerns about the roadways. It may be that it was mapped as a residential area and within the past 5 years has gotten heavy industrial use. This might be an opportunity for the city to see where this falls in the list of priorities, but I don't think that's directly before us. But I think the city council may want to earmark that in its considerations or discussing it with staff. I just want to offer that comment.
Okay. Commissioner Reyes?
I just want to mention that I think that this is a great opportunity to bring to our city, and I love that y'all are bringing y'all's business over here, and we definitely can use more of this in our city and local cities. So I'm for the project. And to comment on your roads, as Guadalupe had also mentioned, if need be, they will, not, obviously that's up in the air, but if need be, then they can fix the roads, if that is an issue for them.
Any other discussion, or is there a motion?
And if there's no other discussion from the other commissioners, I'd like to make a motion for approval for zoning case.
They're on the comprehensive amendment.
Oh,
plan
sorry about
amendment
that.
First.
On the Comprehensive Plan Amendment 2025-12CP for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of item number 9. Please vote. And the motion passes 6-1. All right, and then we are on zoning case 2024-445-ZC.
And if there's no other,
Well, I have to do the
I'm
public
sorry
hearing
about that.
separately.
Apologies.
Yeah, for 2410 Camano Drive. Same address, I just can't say it anymore. So is there, the applicant, you already spoke, did you have anything further you wanted to say? Okay. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Sir, are you wanting to speak in opposition again? Yes. Okay, just one second. Anybody who'd like to speak in favor of this item first? No? Okay. Now, sir, anybody who'd like to speak in opposition? So you're up. Please state your name and address again.
Melvin Pullen, 7006 Fillmore, Dallas, Texas, 752-354318. You've had other cases where you've said that they need to show you more. The property that was developed at Maryland and Camano Drive had a special use permit. Before they got the zoning changed, they had a specific plan as to what was going to be located at that property. So, in your consideration for the development there, I've been there since 1984, and unbeknown to y'all, I was unable to have my property at 2418 Camano Drive to build a residential house. And currently, the zoning doesn't permit me to do anything at all. So I think it would be fair that any applicant in that area presents a plan as to what they want to do with the property before you approve the zoning. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Anybody else who'd like to speak in opposition to this item? No? Then I'll return it to the commission for discussion and a motion.
Hi, sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Pardon me, sir. I just want your comment not to be left swept under the rug. Where exactly are you located in terms of your property?
The property I own is at 2418 Camano Drive.
Will we pull it up? Oh, okay. Perfect. And
But you don't live at that location, correct, sir?
No, y'all removed that privilege from me.
sir, I'd just like to mention if that you as a citizen have the opportunity to put in requests for zoning changes as well. And if any other commissioner doesn't have any further discussion, I'd like to...
Sorry, just so everyone knows, I couldn't get to it. That's the property right there. That way everybody can see.
Awesome. Thank you, Ken. Did any other commissioners have any further feedback?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'd like to recommend zoning case 2024-445 ZC to City Council for approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second recommending approval. Please vote. And the motion passes 6-1. All right. Now we're on to item number 11. And so, ma'am, it does go to the city council, so it goes with a recommendation of approval. So you want to make sure you're there for that. And sir, similarly, your concerns about the property, you can raise those at the city council as well. Yeah, both of you. All right, comprehensive plan amendment 2025-13-CP, located at 5050 West Northgate Drive, and the companion case, zoning case 2024-450-ZC, that same address. Would you like to speak about them together?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Jim Dewey with JDJR Engineers, 2500 Texas Drive, Suite 100 here in Irving, Texas. I'm here tonight on behalf of the property owner who purchased this property some time ago. For many years, it was a coin-operated car wash. The last several years, it's not been in very good repair. Fortunately, he's recently converted the use, done some, actually demoed a portion of the building off to get some more parking, and has done a lot of improvements to the building. And it looks much better than it has in many years. He is running a minor auto repair company out of here and converted the car wash bays to, mechanical bays. And that use was allowed. He would like, though, to add used car sales just at the building next door. It's going to be basically the same exact operation, mostly auto repair with a little bit of used car sales. And that's the reason we're here tonight before you. So he actually is a partner in the building next door. He owns that property in partnership. Bought this one. That one's really doing well. There's not really much expansion. Opening up a very similar business here and believes it'll do just as well. So with that being the case, I'll be glad to answer any questions you have regarding this request.
Do the commissioners have any questions for the applicant? No, it doesn't look like it. Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? No? Then I'll return it to the commission for any discussion and a motion. And we're technically on the comprehensive plan amendment part first.
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second.
And it's for approval of 2025-13 CP.
All right, we have a motion and a second from Commissioner Lightfoot.
Yes, sir.
Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. So now the zoning case 2024-450-ZC at the 5050 West Northgate. And Mr. Dewey, did you want to say anything more? No? All right. Anybody who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? No. Then I'll return it back to the commission.
Mr. Dewey, got a question for you.
Oh, you do? Go ahead.
This zoning case is to allow use of used car sales.
Only as an accessory use.
Okay, but is there? And issue comes up, there's just not very many parking spaces there, for one thing. The other thing is, where are you going to store your inventory for used cars?
This will be a very small operation. The nicer cars, if they have very many on site, will be stored inside at night, but it's all internet sales. They really don't need display, even though they may have a few out front for display. Everybody goes on the internet now and looks for a car, especially a used car, and go and purchase it. For some reason, it's a nice use to go with auto repair. I don't know if some of the people, maybe that's kind of a deal they work out. The car really isn't fixed. They purchase it, fix it up, resell it. The business next door is doing the exact same thing, and they've been really doing it in a good business and maintaining their property. And again, it's the same owners.
Well, having looked at the location and whatnot, and having a little bit of background in this, I'm sitting there going, well, you got an office building about the size of a nice closet and for sales, and I don't know how they're going to do that. and there's like only 4 or 5 parking spots in front, and you may have one employee, so there goes one. I just don't see I know you're using it as an accessory use for you.
Well, I understand your concern. There's plenty of parking in their back. I wouldn't think the employees would be the ones that would park in the front. Again, this kind of car sales doesn't really use much display. I don't know if you've been by the other place. They do sell some cars, but it's not really, they may have a couple out there maybe. That's not really the primary function, is to have a bunch of display cars and people actually show up there and you know, try to pick out a car.
Well, the reason I asked the question is because the purpose of this zoning case is to be able to use car sales.
Yes, but if you look, it allows auto sales and as accessory use to the principal use. So this could never be run as a used car lot by itself. It has to be an accessory use to the primary use, which is minor auto repair. So if they don't do primary auto repair, they can't sell cars. I mean, minor auto repair. It's only an accessory use. This is not a used car lot, just like the property next door.
Thanks.
Any further discussion, or do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, if there's no other discussion of the commission, to approve zoning case 2024-50-ZC and move to city council for approval.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second recommending approval on item number 12. Please vote. And the motion passes 6-1. All right, and we are on to item number 13, which is ordinance amendment 2024-326-UDC, amending the data center standards and requirements. Just do a public hearing on this one? Yeah. Is there anybody who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? Sir, would you come up to the podium?
My name is Andrew Lawson. I live at 7218 Arches Avenue in Irving, Texas. I was notified of this change by a postcard. There's no, I'm more or less here just for questions. I'm actually the president of my HOA of Parkside. I know that it's a data center change, which is going to require some sort of commercial building, which is going to need constant cooling, which is going to produce noise. We already live next to a highway of 114 that produces anywhere from 10 to 20 decibels. We live right next to the airport runway, which creates about 60 decibels every minute. We also have forward air, which we, the homeowner residents, paid for the 4-lane road for forward air to use. That produces anywhere from 20 to 40 decibels every single day, for all hours of the day. And more or less, I'm not opposed to this data center idea. I think any business to Irving is wonderful. It's just, like I said, I'm here more or less for questions on locations. Because, like I said, I was only notified of this through a postcard. And that's really why I'm here. I'm in representation of 888 homeowners that provide anywhere from $14 to $16 million in tax revenue for you guys. So yes, again, I just need some questions answered.
Can you mind summarizing?
Yes, I can. Let me summarize what this ordinance is about. Currently, data centers are allowed by right in several of the industrial districts. This would actually change it to require them to obtain individually a conditional use permit for each one. So this is not about a specific property. The state law requires us to notify everybody that has a certain zoning designation that's affected and everyone within 200 feet, that would be the HOA, and that by state law, we had to mail not just to property owners, but to business personal property and tenants. So that was 6,300 postcards with the QR code because it was considerably less tax money to use that than to do an envelope for each and every one of those. Basically what this is just changing the ordinance that already exists, which has data center. There are standards for data centers rather than allowing them by right in certain districts that would be industrial, fairly close to your subdivision. Those would now be required to be by conditional use permit, which require individually coming before the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council. So this is probably, if I were a resident, probably a good thing.
This won't put them any closer to your residence.
Yes.
The change, it means that they have to get special permission to even do what they're currently able to do just on their own right now.
Yeah.
So even to do what is currently permitted now, they'll have to get special permission to do that. But it's either way, it won't make them closer to you.
And they are required, thank you, and they are required to be at least 300 feet from residential. And with a CUP, the council could impose stipulations that they potentially be even further than that for an individual case.
Okay, well, so there's a TXU easement that goes right through the middle of our neighborhood, and that has been increased in voltage. I think mainly for the airport, but I'm guessing it's to accommodate these data centers that are coming in because they do require a lot more power. Unfortunately, when they did do the increase, we are getting substantial amount of buzzing for the residents, about the 200 residents which are in eyesight of that TXU easement. Like I said, I mean, any business in Irving is wonderful. I mean, it's a great place to live, but as a individual homeowner resident, I still believe that putting this much industrial in this area can be somewhat detrimental.
Sir, I think that some of that may have been what the city council was concerned about as well, and why they wanted to move to requiring each of these projects to come before them individually, so that they could look at it and see, does it really fit? How close is this going to be to neighborhoods? If there is going to be a project that would be close to you, I believe you would also get notice of that as well. So if there was actually a specific project, you would get the notice for that too, and that would give you a chance to come and express the concerns in the context of, not in the abstract like we're doing now, but on a very specific project, and be able to see what the plans were, whether you or the other residents thought that the solutions that were being proposed were going to be adequate. And if not, being able to raise that. But yeah, that's my impression, is that the city council was similarly concerned to make sure that you and other residents were being protected adequately from uses that are, unusual.
Yeah, that particular area is very unusual. I think you guys all know it. It used to be called Mud Springs.
It's these very concerns that are why the city council asked for this ordinance.
So they started construction on this property right off of Esther's, right next to the Sheridan, and we didn't get notified of it. I mean, we might have gotten notified of it, but it wasn't any. It was posted at the city hall for anybody that wanted to understand what was going on to come in, but we didn't actually get a say in it until it was actually starting to flip dirt.
Yeah, so things that don't require special approval, you don't necessarily get notice of, but that's one of the benefits of this new ordinance, is it means that all data centers have to get special approval. So they have to send out a required notice every time.
I do want to note there's one exception, and that's property, and this would affect you. Anything that's on DFW airport owned property, the city by state law we have absolutely zero control over.
Right, right.
So-
They have their own police station.
So-
It's like their own country over there.
Just letting you know.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, anybody else who'd like to speak in opposition to this item? Not being anyone else, then I'll return it to the commission for discussion and a motion.
I just want to reiterate on what you said. I think this ordinance is being put in place to help protect the quality of life of the people having to live around these things, and to sort of give the city a little bit more flexibility of where they can go and regulations and stuff to make sure they're a good fit and they're compatible with the area they go into. Ladies first.
I was just going to make a motion. If no other commissioner has any further feedback, I like to make a motion for approval for Ordinance Amendment 2024-326 UDC to City Council.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion
Two of us.
recommending approval and a second on the data center ordinance. Please vote. And the motion passed unanimously. All right, and then our last item is Comprehensive Plan Amendment 2024-17-CP, amending the Irving Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map. Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody who would like to speak in opposition to this item? All right, there not being anybody who'd like to speak on this item, then I'll return it to the commission for any discussion and a motion.
If no other commissioner has any feedback, I like to make a motion for Comprehensive Plan Amendment 2024-17 CP for City Council to approval, excuse me.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second recommending approval. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. And that being our last item, the meeting is adjourned at 8:30 p.m.